Okay. Good morning, all of you. So this is the last unit. So here the last unit is mission independent optimization. So in this unit we are going to discuss about only 3 points. The first point is the principal sources of optimization. And the second one is peak hole optimization. And the last one is introduction to data flow analysis. In examination point of view, they may ask the first question. Explain about the principal sources of optimization. Direct 14 mark question. Okay. It is a 7 mark question. Peak hole optimization. And also introduction to data flow analysis. This is also a 7 mark question. So in the compiler design we have total 6 units. Out of 6 units, the last unit is very easy when compared to the remaining units. Okay. So out of these 3 topics, the first one is very important. The first one, that is the principal sources of optimization. So here the principal sources of optimization, they may ask directly explain about the principal sources of optimization. At that time, you have to write 2 points. One is semantic preserving transformation and the second point is loop optimization. Second point is loop optimization. Sometimes they may ask simply explain about semantic preserving transformation or explain about loop optimization techniques. Okay. So in this unit, the principal sources of optimization is very important question in examination point of view. So here the first one is the semantic preserving transformation or the function preserving transformation. Both are same. Semantic or the function preserving transformation. So almost all are related to how to optimize the code. So here we have followed different techniques or different methods to optimize the code. So the first one is the function or semantic preserving transformation. So in this we are mainly concentrating on the common subexpression elimination. Elimination of common subexpression. So in this case, in common subexpression, we are mainly concentrating on 2 points. One is local common subexpression. Local common subexpression elimination. And second one is global common subexpression elimination. Okay. One is local, and second one is global. So one is local common subexpression elimination and second one is global common subexpression elimination. So that is the first point. See, in this case, here the input is flow graph only. Input is flow graph. So each and every block, first we have optimized each and every block. So that one we can call it as a local optimization. So in that cases we are using the first part, that is semantic preserving transformation. And the next one is the loops. Whenever any flow graph contains some loops, then we have optimized the loops also. That's why the second one is we are concentrating on the loop optimization. Okay. So in the first point, the common subexpression means first we have to eliminate local. Local means nothing but take individual blocks. Suppose the input graph contains 5 blocks. Block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4 and then block 5. First take block 1. Any common subexpression is there or not? Suppose if the common subexpression is there, then we have to eliminate it. Next one, take same way block 2, same way block 3, block 4, block 5. Okay, that is local. And the next one is global. Global means compare one block to another block. Suppose local means take block 1 and we have only check with only the block 1 instructions only. Take block 2, check only block 2 instructions only. Is there any common instruction is there? We have to eliminate it one. Okay, that is about the local. Whenever we are taking the global means it is compared with one block to another block. So take block 1 and compared with block 2. Check it whether the instructions are same or not. Suppose if the instructions are same, values also same, then we have to eliminate it one. Suppose instruction is same but the values are varied, then we need not remove the instructions. Okay. Even though statements are same but the values are different, at that time we need not perform any deletion operation. And then next one compared with B1 to B3, B1 to B4 and then B1 to B5. Same way B2, B3, B2, B4, B2, B5. Like that B3, B4, B3, B5. Same way B4, B5. So that is about the global common sub-expression elimination. And the next one is the copy propagation. This is already over. And next one, dead code elimination, constant folding. And next one, loop optimization. All of you know very well. We have already discussed about the previous class about the loop optimization. And the next one is in that loop optimization, we are concentrating on these two. One is code motion, second one is induction variable and reduction in strength. So the first one is semantic preserving transformation or function preserving transformation. So in this case, there are a number of ways in which a compiler can improve a program efficiency without changing the actual meaning, without changing the function it computes. So in this case, just now I have already mentioned that these are the comes under semantic preserving transformations. One is the common sub-expression elimination, second one is the copy propagation, third one is the dead code elimination, fourth one is constant folding, and then constant folding are common examples of function preserving. Now we will see one by one. So before applying these topics, so first we need some input. So here the input is nothing but flow graph. Input is nothing but flow graph. So especially in this concept, I am taking the example is quicksort program. Quicksort program. It is very important one. Quicksort program. It is a very important one. So this is the input. This is the input. Here the input is a quicksort program. Quicksort program. So while quicksort begin and then end and then end. Now in our case our input should be in flow graph, but here the input is in C code. What we'll do? So first we have to convert the program into 3 underscore statements. So our first step is first to convert this program into 3 underscore statements. Now this is about the 3 underscore statement for the quicksort program. Okay, quicksort program. So total 30 instructions are there. Total 30 instructions are there. Now after completion of these 3 underscore statements, what is the next one? Next one is identify the laders. So how to identify the laders? Total 3 points. The first statement is a ladder as per rule 1. Rule 2 is the target of a conditional or unconditional go to is a ladder. And the third one is immediately follows the go to statement is a ladder. So we have total 3 points. By using these 3 points, first we have identified the ladders. So as per rule 1, the first statement is a ladder. First statement is a ladder, L. Next one. What is rule 2? The target of a go to is a ladder. So go to 5. So fifth statement is a ladder. Fifth statement is a ladder. Next one. Go to 9. Apply rule 2. Go to 9. So ninth one is a ladder. Next go to 23rd. So 23rd is a ladder. 23 is a ladder. Next one. Go to 5. So fifth one, it is already ladder. Okay. Next to go to, no statement. Now rule 2 completed. Now what is rule 3? Immediately follows the go to statement is a ladder. That means, so go to, this is 8th statement is a go to. So immediately follows means 9th statement should be a ladder. It is already ladder. Okay. Next one, 12th statement is a go to. Automatically 13th statement is a ladder. Same way 13th statement is a go to statement. So immediately follows means the 14th statement is also a ladder. Next one, 22nd statement is a go to. So 23rd statement is a ladder. It is already there. So we have total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have total 6 ladders. Then how many blocks we will get? So 6 ladders means we will get total 6 blocks. How to divide the blocks from ladder to ladder? Now, so it is a ladder. First statement, go to 5, ladder. This is the ladder. Go to 9, ladder. 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 Go to 23, ladder. Go to 5, ladder. Now these are the ladders. Now first divide into basic blocks. So what is block 1? First ladder. First statement ladder and then fifth statement is a ladder. So block 1 means ladder to ladder. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. First 4 statements comes under block 1. So block 1 means first 4 statements. Next one, what is block 2? So second ladder is fifth statement is a ladder and then 9th statement is a ladder. So block 2 is 5 to 8. Fifth statement to 8th statements. So 5 to 8. This is comes under block 2. Next one, what is block 3? 9 to 12 because 13th one is a ladder. So 9 to 12th statements becomes ladder. So 9 to 12. So this is block 3. And what is block 4? So block 4 is a condition. What is the condition? If I greater than or equal to j, go to, that means if the condition is true, then go to 23rd statement. Suppose if the condition is false, then go to next block. Next statement means nothing but next block. So here the block 4 means only 13th statement. So 13th statement. Okay. Go to 23rd. 23rd means 23 to 30. So this is block 6. Block 5 means T6 to 14 to 22. So 14 to 22. This is block 5 and this is block 6. Total we have 6 blocks. Next one is graph. Graph means So each block represent one node, and how to draw the graph by using the flow of the program. So here the flow of the program is, so first block 1 executes and then block 2. The block 2 last statement is if T3 less than V, go to 5. That means it is a loop. Again, block 2 is loop. So you can give the loop. Block 2 is the self loop. Same way block 3, go to 9. It is a self loop. So block 3 is a self loop. Next one, block 4. If the condition is true, then go to block 6. If the condition is false, go to block 5. So false, block 5. True, block 6. If you observe the block 5, the last statement is go to 5. What is 5? 5 means nothing but it is comes under block 2. So here there is a loop from block 5 to block 2. Block 5 to block 2. So this is about flow graph. Okay. So here the first one is, here the input is the program, Quicksort code. Our first step is write the 3 underscore statements. Next one, identify the ladders. We identified total 6 ladders. So we have total 6 blocks. Next one, draw the flow graph. Draw the flow graph. Now this is the input. Till now we performed only the input. So this is the input to the our concept. What is our concept? Semantic preserving transformations or function preserving transformation. In that, what is the first point? First point is elimination of common sub-expression. So common sub-expression means, again in this case we have two approaches are there. One is local elimination, second one is global elimination. Now this is input to the common sub-expression elimination. So the first point, see, so this is our input. So first perform local common sub-expression. So local common sub-expression means first take individual blocks and check it each and every instruction, whether is there any instruction is same or not. Suppose if the instruction is same, then we can eliminate it. Okay. Suppose take block 1. So block 1 having total 4 instructions, all are different. Take block 2. 4 instructions, all are different. Block 3. 4 instructions, all are different. Block 4, only one statement. Okay. Next, block 5. If you observe block 5, T6 equal to 4 into I, and then T8 equal to, T7 equal to 4 into I. So 4 into I, same, it is a common sub-expression. Okay. So that's why first to take block 5. So block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4 doesn't have any local common sub-expression. So take block 5. So this is block 5. What is block 5? T6 equal to 4 into I. So write T6 equal to 4 into I. Next one, x equal to a of T6. No problem, right? X equal to a of T6. Next one, T7 equal to 4 into I. So actually here in the same block, 4 into I, the expression is already assigned to T6. Here also we can take the same expression, 4 into I. Again this 4 into I is assigned to one more temporary variable. Actually it is not required because In this case, suppose for example, whenever the loop enters into the block 5, at that time suppose take I value is 1, then what is the value here? 4 into 1, 4 only. Same way here, what is the I value? Same, 1 only. So 4 into 1 means 4. So in this case, the expression is same and also value is also same. That's why we have to remove either T6 or T7. Okay. Suppose, for example, if you take after T6, here the statement is like this: I equal to I plus 1. The statement is like this. So in this case, what is the T6 value? So once while entering into the block 5, I value is 1. So T6 value is 4. Next is I is incremented by 1. That means 1 plus 1, 2. Now T7 equal to 4 into I. Now what is the I value? 2. At that time what is the value? 8. See here T6 value is 4, whereas in this case the T7 value is 8. At that time, even though expressions are same, we need not modify it. We need not delete the statement T7 because the values are different. Expression is same, but the values are different. At that time, we are not removing the statement T7 equal to 4 into I. Okay. So whenever you have to remove any statement or any expression, first we have to check it on two things. One is whether the expression is same or not, and the second point is whether the expression is generating the same value or not. Suppose if the expression is generating the same value, then we have to eliminate it. Suppose if the expression is same but the values are different, at that time we need not perform any deletion operation. Okay, that is a very, very important point. So whereas in this case both are generating the same value, so you can remove T7. No need to write T7 equal to 4 into I. Next one, T8 equal to 4 into J. Now you can write T8 equal to 4 into J. Next one, T9 equal to A of T8. So you can write T9 equal to A of T8. Next one, A of T7. What is T7? 4 into I. We already removed the temporary variable T7. So instead of T7, we can write T6. So here you can write A of T6 equal to T9. Next one, T10 equal to 4 into J. We computed the 4 into J value. Here also 4 into J value. The expression is same. What about the value? In this case, values are also same. So you can directly remove T10 equal to 4 into J. The next statement, A of T10. Instead of T10, you can use T8 because T10 and T8 same expressions. So A of T8 equal to X. And then go to B2. So this is before applying the local common sub expression, and this is after applying local common sub expression. Okay. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 statements are there. After performing the local common sub expression, we got 7. We have reduced to 2 statements. These two, 4 into I, 4 into I. Like that, this is block 5. Like that, you have to perform on block 6 in the same way. Okay. Okay. In the same way, you can perform block 6 also. So this is about local common sub expression. And the next one is global common sub expression. So global common sub expression means, suppose in this case we remove the value, this one T7 and then T10. Same way block 6 also. Now global means compared with one block to another block. Now here T6 equal to 4 into I. Here also T2 equal to 4 into I. The expression is same. What about the I value? So here I value is, suppose, so here this is the I and I is updated here. Next one, after this statement T2, there is no I value is updated. So in this case both are generating the same value. Same way 4 into J. 4 into J. 4 into J. You have to check it. The expression is same and also generating the same value. So once the local is completed, you have to compare with one block to another block. One block to another block. That is global common sub-expression. Same way you can perform block 5 and block 6. After performing the local and global common sub-expression elimination, see the block 5 and block 6 after common sub-expression elimination. After common means common sub-expression means both local and global common sub-expression elimination. This is the result. So this is the block 5 and this is the block 6. Okay. Block 5 and block 6. So this is the first point. And the second point is copy propagation. So copy propagation means, suppose if you observe the block 5, if you observe the block 5, so what is block 5? So in this case, the T3 is assigned to X and then T5 is assigned to A of T2. Next one, the X is assigned to A of T4. See, if you observe the first statement and the third statement, what is the purpose of the X here? I already mentioned that instead of X, you can put directly T3 like this. Instead of X, you can put directly T3. So this is about the copy propagation. Okay. In the same way you can apply for block 6 also. Block 6 also. See, T3 is assigned to X and again you can use X. Instead of that one, you can use directly write T3. So this is about the copy propagation. In the previous classes, we have already discussed about the copy propagation. The same concept is applied here. Okay. And the dead code elimination. Dead code elimination. So here the dead code elimination means, suppose here we are using the variable is T3, that is copy propagation, that is a copy propagation. If you observe this block, see T5 assigned, T3 assigned, go to T2. T3 value is updated and then T5 value is updated. Again assigned. But we never use the statement this one. We never use the variable X. We never use the variable X. Suppose if you remove the statement X equal to T3, there is no change in the block B5. So you can simply remove the statement X equal to T3. So this is about dead code elimination. Same way here also. If you apply the copy propagation, this is the result and there is no purpose of this statement. Simply you can remove that statement X equal to T3. So this is about dead code elimination. And the first part is over. And what is the second part? The second part is loop optimization. In the loop optimization, we are mainly concentrating on the code motion and induction variable and reduction in strength. Induction variable and reduction in strength. So in this case, I have already mentioned that what is meant by code motion. So the code motion means whenever the loop is executed, particular block is executed, each and every time, each and every instruction should be, values should be changed. Suppose any instruction need not change the values, then simply we can remove that instruction from that block. Okay, simply we can remove that instruction from that block and keep right outside the block. So that's why we can call it as a loop invariant computation. Some of the statements are not depend on the loops, that is independent on the loops. Those statements you can write outside the loop. Suppose if you observe that this statement, while I less than or equal to limit minus 2. See, if you observe this statement doesn't change. If you loop execute one time, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever it is, the value doesn't change. It is a fixed one. At that time, you have to write outside the block. Suppose take t equal to limit minus 2. So while I less than or equal to t, so it performs only one time. But whereas in this case, suppose every time loop is executed, at that time every time again it has to be checked what is the limit value, and it is reduced to minus 2. But the values are same. Values are same. No need to change. So statement does not change the limit. At that time simply you can execute only one time. So t equal to limit minus 2. Instead of limit minus 2 you can put t. Here if loop is executed 5 times, this is also executed 5 times, but the values is same. That's why we can put separately. Now it executes only one time. So it preserves more time. So this is about the code motion. Now after performing all the operations like local common sub-expression, global common sub-expression, copy propagation, dead code, everything will get, this is the output. Now the output of the first phase will becomes input to the loop optimization. So in the loop optimization, the first concept is the code motion. Sorry, here first we have to perform. So here we have to perform the induction variables and reduction strength. All of you know that reduction strength means, suppose if you are performing the multiplication means that is replaced with addition or subtraction. So the higher operation is replaced with the lower one operations. That is, we can call it as a reduction strength. And then induction variable means, suppose for example if you take I equal to 1, or take temporary variable t1 equal to 4, because every time we are using 4 into I, 4 into j, like that. Say we take I value is 2, t1 value, it is incremented by 4 times. Now I is incremented by 1 time, t is incremented by 4 times, like that. See, if you observe these two variables I and t1, every time I is incremented by 1. Parallelly, t1 is incremented by 4 times. So instead of I and t1, suppose by using that I, we can use t1. So simply we can remove the variable I. Instead of I, we can use the variable t1, and t1 is every time incremented by 4 times. Suppose if you observe, previously it is 4 into j. 4 into j. Now we have to perform only one time operation, 4 into j. Next one, every time it is decremented by 4 times. So previously here it is a star operator. Now this time we are reduced to reduction operation. That means minus, every time decremented by 4. Same way 4 into I also. 4 into I also. So 4 into I one time. Next time, every time we are performing multiplication operation. Instead of multiplication operation, simply we are using addition operation. Incremented by 4 times. Here decremented by 4 times. In this case, I equal to I plus 1. In this case, j equal to j minus 1. So here I and t2 are induction variables. So we can remove I and we can use only t2. So every time t2 is incremented by 4 times. And also whereas in this case the induction variables are j and t4. J is every time decremented by 1. Whereas in this case the t4 is every time decremented by 4 times. Now this is about induction variables are I and t2. Here j and t4. And also the reduction operation. Star becomes plus or star becomes minus. Now simply we can remove the induction variables I and j. So here previously it performed star operation, now it is addition operation. Here previously we performed star operation, now it is subtraction operation. And also this is about the induction variables and the reduction strength. If you observe the flow graph, if you perform the chord motion, suppose here in this flow graph there is no chord motion is there, there is no loop invariant statement is there, because the loop invariant computation means the statement doesn't depend on the block. Whereas in this case, if you take the loops B2, B3, B5, B2, total 3 statements. So every time loop is executed, every time these 3 statements values are changed. If you compare B3, each and every time B3, these 3 values are changed. Same way B5 3 values are changed. There is no loop invariant computation. That's why there is no chord motion here. Only we performed induction variables and reduction in strength. Now this is about summary of this class. So in this class we discussed about the principal sources of optimization. So in this topic we discussed about the semantic preserving transformation, and the second one is loop optimization. In semantic preserving transformation, we are mainly concentrating on the common sub-expression elimination, copy propagation, dead code elimination, and then constant folding. So loop optimization means we discussed about the code motion and then induction variable and reduction in strength. In examination point of view, in this unit, this is very important topic. Okay, thank you all.